but we've never had a pop star before. So earlier this week, I managed to catch up with a pop star. It was fantastic. He was also an Arsenal fan. He happens to be Wang from Wang Chung. These guys, I hope he doesn't mind, but these guys.
Take your baby by the hand and make her do what our hands can. Take your baby by the heel and do the next thing that you feel.
School disco-tacular, Wang Chung, and dance hall day. So now, I suppose you better go talk to Wang from Wang Chung. Nick Feldman, hello to you.
Hey, how are you doing?
I'm very well, thanks. You are Wang from Wang Chung. How did you decide which one of you was which?
I did, really, because I just thought Wang sounded a bit cooler than Chung, so I went for that one.
Okay.
Otherwise, there was no other sort of criteria other than that.
There was obviously the possibility of comedy moments with Wang, you know. You could,
well, exactly. There's plenty of those, I can assure you.
I have no doubt. Now, you were big in the UK, but you were even bigger in America with number ones on the dance charts and in the mainstream charts. How was that whole thing? Was it really cool being over there and being part of this sort of first wave of MTV?
Yeah, I mean, it was kind of unbelievable, really. I mean, it was quite... We used to tour there a lot, and I even lived there, out there for a while. And so, you know, it's weird going to all these sort of out-of-the-way places in the States and getting sort of recognised and people knowing all about you. It's completely weird and fantastic. But, of course, like most things, I kind of look back on it and think I could have enjoyed it. Didn't really enjoy it as much as I should have done. If I'd kind of, when I look back on it now, I think, my God, you know. But that was great. The only bad thing was that from an Arsenal point of view, it was a really frustrating decade for me.
You couldn't go to the games, or?
Well, I couldn't go to the games for a start because I was away a lot. And, you know, the other guys in the band didn't like football. And our manager didn't like football. And my girlfriend didn't like football.
Oh, no.
So it was like really difficult. And, of course, the whole of America didn't even know what football was. So that was kind of frustrating. And the only matches I seemed to get back for were the ones that we that were painfully, that we lost, like Luton in the League Cup final and things like that. So,
I take it you didn't make it back for Anfield in '89 then?
Well, I was here, thank God. I saw that on the TV. I didn't manage to get up there, but I saw it on TV. So that was obviously a fantastic moment. But that was right at the end of the decade, wasn't it? So, yeah. And I was around for the first bit of the decade, actually, for the first few years. Yeah, but then they were the kind of not very good ones, you know. In 1980, that was pretty painful. And then from then on, it was a bit bleak for a few years, wasn't it?
It was probably good years to be a pop star.
Yeah, exactly. But those are the years I wasn't a pop star.
Oh, no.
So I got it the wrong way round.
While I have you here, and it's always been a question I've pondered many times, in the song Dance Hall Days, it starts off really relatively normally, where you take your baby by the hand.
Yeah.
And then as the song goes on, you take your baby by the hair, the heel, the wrist, and the ears. I know there was some rhyming thing going on, but those are strange places to take your baby, aren't they?
Yes, they are. They're kind of, I suppose, especially the ears one, is kind of slightly rude, I suppose. I think it was always kind of fun to try and get some suggestive ideas through the senses, if you know what I mean, by disguising them. So that's what we were doing with that.
Okay.
But that particular song, people had some very bizarre kind of interpretations of that song. Because people on the chorus it goes, "We were cool on craze in our dancehall days," but a lot of people in America thought we were singing, "We were cool on Christ." And so we had all these weird kind of born again people coming up saying, "Hey, that song's so it's speaking for us," and all that kind of stuff.
Oh my
That's
God.
very weird.
That's a big market there. You surely had to keep them on side.
Well, we managed to completely piss them off by the end of the 80s because we recorded a song called "Praying to a New God," which is all about sort of consumerism. But of course, the Bible Belt radio stations thought we were exhorting the Americans to sort of stop believing in Jesus. So we became sort of public enemy number one.
Oh no. You could have been the greatest Christian pop band of all time.
Especially as I'm Jewish, that would have been quite funny. But,
obviously, you're an Arsenal fan, so let's talk about the club for a bit. And we were talking about football in the 80s and football these days. There's been a huge change in the game in that period of time.
It really is so different. I think the way music. I think if you're into music in the 80s, it wasn't nearly as linked as it is now. And I think a lot of the people I knew, who I was working with and around me in the industry and stuff, they weren't really into football. So I felt a bit isolated in that respect. And I think it's very different now. It's sort of fashionable now, isn't it? And it's sort of, everyone's got a favourite team and everyone kind of talks about it a lot. And it seems much more acceptable. So that's kind of, I find that a bit weird, actually, because I quite like being, made Arsenal sort of more personal to me somehow. And then I think the whole sort of money thing is very different now. The whole, the commercialisation of the game seems very different.
Well, that's what sort of makes it more acceptable, isn't it? This sort of this polished product, as opposed to what in the 80s was certainly more rough and ready.
Yeah, exactly. It felt like you had to work harder to support your team, and you had to get involved more, and it was much more. I don't know. It felt a bit more vital somehow.
Sure. Okay.
I sound like an old fart, but there we go.
Well, there you go. Tell me, who's your favourite player of all time?
Of all time, it's between Liam Brady and Thierry, I think.
Right.
I think I love them both, and I met both of them actually. I had my picture taken with Brady when we won the double a few years ago.
Oh, cool.
With the cups, so that was a bit of a moment. And then I met Thierry. And a few of the other players actually. I used to work for Sony Music, and I had to organise a recording session in London. I was involved with the World Cup album, the official FIFA World Cup album, and I had to organise a recording session. And a lot of the Arsenal players came down to it and sort of sang on it. It was a terrible record, but at least I met them all, so it was great.
Cool. All right. What about a favourite game?
A favourite game? I think probably when we won 1-0 at Tottenham, when we won the double in I forgot what year it was. 71, was it?
Yeah.
71. I was there. I was very young, but my dad got me in, and that was just an incredibly exciting game.
All right, and tell me a favourite goal, if you can pick one.
Favourite goal? I think it's got to be the Anfield goal, Michael Thomas. That's got to be my favourite goal.
It's hard to beat. Final question. Looking at this current Arsenal squad, which one of them do you think could Wang Chung the best?
Well, you keep quoting Adebayor as Adebayor having fun tonight and Wang Chunging, and I can't help but agree with you. He's really Wang Chunging a lot, isn't he, at the moment? But
he is.
But then Cesc, of course, is just totally brilliant, isn't he? So it's between the two of them, I reckon.
Okay, maybe we should have a Wang Chung competition, see if we can organise that for the near future. Nick, thanks very much for talking to Arseblog today.
Well, thank you for having me. It's a real honour.
All right, thanks very much.
Thank you.